my goal here this morning is to introduce the company, the team, the ethos of what we do, and then towards the end, I'll get more onto the business, the products, and how we're actually going to grow. But I think it's important to understand where we came from, and then we'll get to where we're going. When I was younger, I couldn't choose between business or medicine, so ended up doing both, which was very exciting because it gave us a view of the world alongside my then business partner, Chris Jeffrey. When we were doing these MBA studies, we were looking at the world, and instead of saying, I wish someone would build a this, we thought, let's build one of those. And what we had was a very unique team of people who had come from broad industry before we started medicine. So the original founding team of the company had Chris Jeffrey, who's a mechatronics R&D engineer for the military, who was on active duty and bunking with the trauma surgeon, said, what you do is more interesting than what I do, and came back and got a scholarship into medicine. Very clever guy. Then we had a Boeing signal engineer who wanted to be a cardiologist and is now, a really great guy. And then we had a test engineer from Cochlear. And so we thought, we can make a device that goes beep. We have the skill set to do that. Because when you're looking at access to hearing health technology, the foundational tool that is used is the hearing test. And the purpose of the hearing test is to understand how you hear the quietest possible sound. And that's been used for over a century to determine what your hearing is like and how you need help in your day-to-day interaction. And to perform this test, which is done by tertiary trained professionals, you sit in the quietest possible space, tones are generated for you, and you indicate whether you can hear them or not. So we thought we can make this process simpler because everybody should be having their hearing tested, but not enough people do. And in our health industry, we have a very coastal focus, we have a very distant community, and we have awareness issues linked to the availability of these hearing health resources that we're trying to improve. So our first notion was, how can we make it easier for people to get their hearing tested? We can make a device that goes beep. And we did that, and that was very exciting. But then we thought, the issue isn't that people should know about their hearing health. The issue is that people should change their behavior and take action when it comes to their hearing health. And so we took the technology a step further. We went from understanding what your hearing is like to translating that into an experience that makes you see the value of tailoring sound to your individual hearing profile. Because it's not enough when you're trying to change someone's behavior to tell them there is something wrong with you. It doesn't work. You have to convince them that not only do I have a problem that is identifiable, not only is that problem significant enough that I want to change, you need to convince them that if I do change, it's worth the effort. And so what we did is we took our foundational medical style technology and we turned it into a tool to enhance an entertainment experience, to use entertainment as the hook to get people to not only understand their hearing health, but improve the quality of their life. And the technology is very simple. You put the headphones on, you download an app, and in the app, we say, can you hear the beep? Because what we are doing is trying to understand that this headphone is trying to make sound for you. Can you hear it or not? It's a very simple premise. And once we've done that, we can balance your right and left ears individually up to every frequency point used in the generation of sound and music, which is very complex and very technical and very cool, but it's a process that's very simple for the consumer. And then we lock that hearing profile into the headphone, and from that point on, all sound produced by the headphone is tailored to your individual needs. Now, if you're someone like me, who's early 30s, hearing's pretty good, I've always used my earplugs because I'm that kind of guy. I never mind being teased for wearing earplugs while I was drumming because I prefer to not go deaf than be teased for my earplugs. My hearing is great. These headphones changed my entire experience. Because when you're thinking about music and sound and difference, when we're looking at hearing loss, we start talking about 30 decibels, 40 decibels, 50 decibels. And this doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but the difference between spoken word, if I wasn't projecting now, I would be at about 50, 60 decibels. A jet engine taking off is 110, 120. So when someone tells you, oh, you've got 80% hearing loss and 50 decibels of loss, it doesn't mean a lot to people. But in music land, if you change sound by 2 or 3 decibels, that's the difference between hearing an entire instrument or not. It's the difference between hearing what the person on the TV is saying or not. It's the difference between understanding what your grandkids are trying to tell you over FaceTime or not. We take these hearing test results that can show horrible and severe hearing loss, and when we tweak it and we optimize it for this entertainment and communication experience, we make these small changes that are completely life-changing for different types of people. And those people we break into 2 categories. There are the people who actually use our product. That's the person, like yourselves, who goes home, puts their headphones on, and uses the product. The primary target are the people who know they have a hearing loss. They are seeking a solution, and we are that solution. The second market we're serving is our secondary health market who are health conscious, they're health aware, they want to make positive health choices, and it may also be a medical need through NDIS. Perhaps there's some hypersensitivity, autism spectrum disorder. Mothers of autistic children buy our headphone using their NDIS funding, which I'll get to in a minute, and we classify that as our secondary market. But the people who buy our product, the people who actually pay for it, are audiology clinics. Because after years of figuring out how we were going to address this issue, we went through a Kickstarter campaign, we sold 100 grand on the first day, made $500,000 in sales over those first 30 days, had to figure out how we were going to then take this cool idea and manufacture it and get it shipped. At the start of 2018, we shipped to 60 countries, launched on Amazon, did a launch into China, had all these whiz-bang things, spent all our money, and had to start again because it's very hard to crack into the consumer electronics market. Because there's lots of companies. There are these little players like Beats who are owned by Apple for $1 billion. There's Bose, there's Sony, there's all these guys. Where we play, there's us. There's a pretty cool Sennheiser headphone that we're better than, which is great. And there's hearing aids. So where we chose to play, after earning the right to do so, after learning, after tweaking, after adapting our technology and getting it ready for the clinical application, we earned the right to come back to the health industry, and since then, it's been all guns blazing and led to our IPO. That was at the start of 2019 when we secured the supply agreement with Hearing Australia, who are the national government supplier of hearing health technologies in Australia. So after securing that supply agreement, we really broke into the audiology industry, which unlocked our primary target market. Because when we're looking at changing behavior and we're looking at people that are going to take action about their hearing loss, they are going to audiology clinics. They've summoned up the courage, or someone's dragged them by the ear, and eventually they've gone in, they've sat down, they've had their hearing test. Those people are walking into audiology clinics, so that's where we've put our product. We reach our primary market. The other part of that audiology industry that's amazing for our company and our technology is that we are lucky enough in Australia that we have recognized the value of technologies like this far and away against any other nation. And there are 3 key government categories that mean our primary target pays 0 out of pocket to receive our product. Those three categories are the Department of Veterans Affairs Rehabilitations Program, the Hearing Services Program, and the National Disability Insurance Scheme. And what that means is that when people are going into a hearing clinic, those audiologists are the gatekeepers of that government funding, and those audiologists are choosing us as their solution. And the reason they choose us is because we're increasing their revenue streams. They get to help people, tick. They get to make money, tick. We get to make money, tick. We get to help the people we set out to serve, big ticks. It's a really great partnership. And commercially, it's a great partnership because the international reach of these groups is multiples above what we have access to here in Australia. There are 5 key players that rule our universe, and they all have a foothold here in the Australian market. And when we engage with these groups, we can use their strengths and their relationships to expand. One of these groups that we have a great relationship with is Amplifon. We're stocked in all the Amplifon clinics. Amplifon purchased Attune Hearing. We're stocked in all the Attune clinics. Amplifon took over the operations of Bupa. We're stocked in all the Bupa clinics. Amplifon have roughly 300 sites, depending how you label them here in Australia. They also recently acquired Bay Audio for $550 million. It was announced last week. So that'll be a great opportunity for Bay Audio here in Australia. But Australia is the foothold. And why these international companies like Australia is we've got incredible clinical strength. We have these very strong government incentives, which mean you can get a foundation piece to bring a customer in and then talk to them about hearing aids. But it also serves as a market with the same demographics as their international footholds. So on the back of our relationship with these strong players, we can go from here to international expansion outside of Australia alongside these strong partners. And that leaves us in a position that we're providing our quality service through not only the Australian clinic sites, but then into New Zealand, China, India, UK, USA, and kick that off. Our next piece outside of Australia where we're playing now is our distribution agreement with Westone, which we're very excited about. And what Westone do as a distributor for our product into the US is act as that gatekeeper, that trusted source, so that we can have those warm handshakes into the industry that give us access to their thousands of clinics. Because like in most industries, with Australia as the foothold, the US industry is a minimum 10 times bigger. When we're having single conversations with buying groups that are distributed to through Westone, each one of those conversations, those groups have more clinics in the entire Australian market. And as we have those conversations, we will see that growth. As we transition away from our clinical foundation, once we finish this job, which will probably take us a minute, and we become the #1 product stocked in audiology clinics that isn't a hearing aid, when we become the tool that engages people and brings them in and changes those behaviours, when we have that foundational piece, we can then be expanding our technology outside of the pure clinical application into our non-clinical areas. Because when we started this company, when we started making headphones, when you talk to people about headphones, thousands of ideas rush in. And when we were young and hungry and interested and chasing lots of shiny lights, we went after a lot of them. And it was a very exciting time. Now we're laser focused on these clinics, but what we have is this foundational understanding of what's next. So people often say, what about gaming? Kids use headphones for gaming. So they sure do. Isn't that an exciting opportunity? Tick. We'll get to that when we're ready. What about kids? We want kids to change their behaviours. We don't want our kids going deaf. Absolutely. Let's have a go at healthy headphones for kids. Let's be the Sultana brand of headphones. They sound amazing, but parents like them because they're healthy, right? Let's go after that space. Not yet, but our technology can. Because our technology and our team is based around this idea that we're going to understand it better and execute it better than anyone else in the market. Our technology is our algorithm. Our technology is our math. Our technology is not the headphone. The headphone is metal and plastic and speakers. And we need to understand it, we need to optimize it, we need to utilize it. But our technology, our secret sauce, is the way we change your experience, and we can put that technology into anything. We can put it into Healthy Kids headphones, in-ear headphones, pilots headphones, gaming headphones, but not yet. Because we're going to win this first, become the healthy headphones, and then expand to be the healthy headphones for the entire planet, so that we can do what we set out to do, which is show people you should care about your hearing health, you should take action to make those changes so that we can ensure people aren't suffering from the long-term consequences of ignoring their hearing health. It takes people 7 years from being told they have a problem to doing anything about it. That's 7 years of increased social isolation, increased complexity in a room like this, trying to understand the person sitting across from you. 7 years of wondering whether your wife was calling out or your husband was there or what your kids were saying. 7 years of not wanting to tell anyone that you should really sit on my left side because I can't hear you, so maybe I'll go over there. We want to cut that right down. We want people to start taking action because, yeah, it's a bit embarrassing to think, oh, I don't hear so well, but it also leads to increased depression, increased rates of Alzheimer's and dementia, these big, scary, horrible things that we don't like to focus on too much because we focus on optimize, enhance, improve, encourage, change. But what we want to do is stop letting people fade away because they feel too scared to take change about their hearing. So by utilizing a product like ours, it's a nice gateway drug. It's a nice way to say, hey, you should use these. So if any of you here have an uncle, a mum, a dad, a grandpa, yourselves, and you don't want to talk about hearing aids, you don't want to talk about hearing loss, talk about this because you get an immediate improvement in your experience in a way that's palatable, acceptable, and utilized by everyone. It's just our headphones will make everything sound so much better. And we'll sneak a little hearing test in there to make sure you understand and take away that guesswork. We'll take away that idea of, oh, maybe I am deaf, or the TV is too loud. We take away all that stuff and we just make it about getting the best possible experience so people will make some change. Thanks very much, and any questions? Let me know.